Okay, we just confirm here for a second that the external power is connected, and we look at the door panel and we cannot go any further before the doors are closed. So let's signal the ground crews to remove the stairs, and I'll just open the window first. We don't want to pressurize the airplane yet. We'll close the passenger door and we can remove the ground power units. So we'll just leave the gear blocks in for now because we don't have the hydraulics online yet, and therefore if we remove the blocks now the airplane starts rolling off the ramp. Back to the engineer station. Do we need to be here? Oh, first we need to be in the first officer station. We need to request clearance for start, and then once we have that, select the beacon light on. Right, as said, we need brakes, so we'll align the hydraulic system. Before we can actually see the hydraulic indicators, we need to switch on this little switch here, the PTS 250 inverter, number 1 inverter. And now we can select the electric hydraulic pumps on 1 and 2. Alright, I made a mistake there. I had the external power on and the APU off, so we need to be on APU, of course. So the main hydraulic systems are up to pressure. Now we need to open this cap and sort of connect these two hydraulic systems together, so the pressure equalizes, and we see the brake emergency hydraulic pressure is still 0. If we press the accumulated charge button here, we'll do actually the same with the brake emergency hydraulic pressure. We just connect that for now to the other system so the pressure equalizes, and as soon as I let go of the button, that system is isolated again. So if we lose all hydraulic pressure in all systems, at least we have an emergency brake. And system 1 obviously does not have an electric hydraulic pump of its own. So we'll let go of the button, we'll close the connection between system 1 and 2, and before I shut down the pumps, I'll show you the amps on the APU. These pumps are quite heavy on the APU generator. On its own it's fine, but don't switch on all the fuel pumps together with this hydraulic pump, because then you would overload the system and you would trip out the APU generator. So we'll switch off the electric hydraulic pumps now, and then you can see the amps are back to normal, and then we can continue setting on all the other systems. Okay, from the captain position we'll make sure the parking brake is set, and we'll signal the ground crew that they can now also remove the blocks, the gear blocks. They're gone, and also on the captain's panel we can see all the hydraulic pressures are there, and there we can see actually that the brake cylinders are pressurized. This is the one to check before we remove the blocks. Okay, as said, now we can continue to align the other systems. So the fuel systems, tank 2 left and right, tank 3 left and right, tank 4 is empty, so we'll leave that off. The surface tank 1, 4 pumps, and the firewall switches, and all the shut-off valves are green, so it indicates they're open. Equalizer on automatic, fuel management system on, it's indicating it's going to use fuel from tanks 2 and 3, not from 4 because it's empty. Flow meter is on, and the fuel quantity indication is on, and we can see we have just under 15 tons of fuel. Engine instruments on, and we make sure the flight deck door is closed. Switch on the voice recorder, switch on the flight recorder, it's up here. Flight recorder on, check the date, it's the first flight of the day, so select one, the recorder's on. And now we do the before start checklist, so we'll go to MISC, checklist, and we'll run this beautifully automated checklist.
Before engine start, recorder turned on, broad blood heat, on board, doors and hatches closed, lights off, flight recorder, pulse, hydrogen number 1, turned on, data set, fuel pump on, hydraulic pressure, brakes, still at level, 210, 120, 210, trimmers, neutral, takeoff data, weight, 081, CG position, 31, V1, 236, 08, 246, V2, 286, stabilizer, middle position, checklist complete.
Okay, that's the checklist complete. In our case, because we done everything right, just complete the checklist. So, if you forgot an item, you get a very nice annotation like, oh, I forgot, or something like that, and you need to find out whatever you forgot. You need to rectify it, and then you can continue. Okay, we won't need pushback from this position. You can use the utility called better pushback. Then you need to pre-plan your pushback. If you're doing this at night, it helps if you turn on the flashlight. You need to assign a key keyboard command for it. We need to do this. So basically with dot and comma or shift dot and comma you can zoom in and out, and with the arrow keys you can move, and then with the scroll mouse you can rotate, and you can place your pushback position. You can actually make more than one position, so you can make a very complex pushback maneuver, even in multiple directions. I quite often use this to reposition the airplane to another stand. It's quite fun to see how it does. It does work very good, but we won't need it today, so I'm just going to escape this. If you're using the pushback utility, make sure the brakes are released completely. I had an issue once with my rudder pedals where the brakes were not entirely released, and I started to push back and really weird things happened. You can check that again on the brake indicator there. Another thing is, and I'm not sure if that's fully simulated, but it makes it realistic, this switch here on the yoke switches off the nozzle steering, so switch that backwards, and then you can do the pushback so the ground crew can freely steer the nozzle, and as soon as the nozzle steering is, as soon as the pushback is complete, you can switch it back on, so you have nozzle steering. So we're just going to start the engines on stand. That's an engineer's job. We have a start clearance already. So first we're going to confirm that the bleed air is on. We can see that because the ready to start light is off. The bleed air is obviously being used by the air conditioning system at the moment. So I'm just going to close that for now. Actually, I should turn these off as well. And we'll open this door here, and as soon as I switch on, You can see the air pressure for the starter is increasing. I'll turn on the crank switch.
Ground, exit to side. Water removed, doors inside is closed, ground in cup and tail rods removed, ready for start.
Selecting engine number 1 and start.
Clear the engine.
Starter is open, and I've opened the
Got it. Starting gun.
fuel lever. It's an automatic start sequence. You can monitor it. We have RPMs, we have fuel pressure, we have fuel flow, we have ignition, we have oil pressure. Starter is off. Engine is stabilizing. I'll check the generator 1. Select generator 1. We have 400 Hz, 115 volts, and then we select the switch up, and we have amps. So now generator 1 is powering the airplane. We need to repeat this for 3 engines. So okay, that was a good start. We'll select the engine selector to off. Starter to crank. Main start switch off, and then we can see the starter air pressure is decreasing. Close the door, and we can close the APU bleed air. Hold this for about 10 seconds until the ready to start light is on, and shut down the APU. Whilst this is shutting down, we'll open the engine bleed supply. 1, 2, 3. Open the mass air supply. Reopen the pressure valves. And temperature regulators to automatic. Also here we have a quick look at the cabin pressurization system, 650.6. Now the next thing is the ice detection system go on. I will test it. It's okay. Another thing I would like to test at this point is I'll select generator 2, and I don't see any load there. And if I switch on the slats anti-icing, I see an amp, so I know they're working. The rest is not electric. Well, actually we can turn it on. We need anti-icing during the flight. So I'll turn it on, windshield heating to low. We'll test the heater heaters. Leave them off for now because don't want them to overheat. And servo hydraulic pressure, servo hydraulic motors, I mean, so 9 of these. We'll make sure they're on. We'll do some more avionics setups now that the electric system is fully aligned. On the upper row we turn everything on except for the Autopilot flight director, the gyro heat and the IS airspeed heat. So on, turn indicator. We don't touch this one yet, but we'll power the attitude system, turn on the FDI, vertical gyro, the compass system, that's the gyroscopes, gyro heat no, magnetic corrections, the KM5 units, the HSIs, the airspeed system but not the heater, and the KLN90 and the vertical speed indicator on the right. And on the lower row, everything on except this one. Turn on the RSBN, not the recorder, the gyro, roll stabilizers on, HF radio, okay, why not. Intercom, we can audio, leave it off, DME on, voice recorder, and the VBE. Okay, we'll start the Doppler system to on. We're going to fly over the ground, not over sea. We'll leave it on task now because she needs, I believe, 6,000 feet for the Doppler to be properly working. We'll switch on the seatbelt signs, no smoking signs, the ADFs on. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is align the gyros. First we need to know our latitude. We can find this on the tallest unit. We're 54 degrees north, and we'll need this to correct the gyros for the rotation of the Earth, make them very accurate. So 54, and we'll select the magnetic and the adjustment to the main gyro, and now we can press the adjust button. And I'll try to show you what happens. I won't be able to hardly do it. Right, from here maybe. So if I press this and look at the main gyros, you can see them turning. So I'm now adjusting the main gyro and I'm correcting them to the course set by the KM5 unit. So if they're all lined up, you should, this is just the magnetic information. So they're set to 0, so no manual correction. And the magnetic field locally says we should be on heading 168. The next thing we'll select the reference gyro and we'll do the same. Adjust. Yeah, that works. Also, you can see now that the arrows here are lined up, so the main gyros are lined up, and we'll do the same for the directional gyros. So the little ones there. Main, oh sorry, reference and main. And they shouldn't move now. If all's done correctly and as soon as the whole setup is complete, they should all be pointing, in this case at 168. So 168 here, 168 here. These needles point at 168, and on the first officer side 168, 168. Okay, the angle of attack and G-meter we need to test. So this to test. We'll get a warning and reset. And also press the button in the middle to reset the G-meter. Right, so now we can turn on the hydraulic buses 1, 2 and 3. Close the cap and this connects the hydraulic system to the flight controls. So we can check the flight controls now. I'll just do that from the outside view. Left, right, up, down, and maybe I need to reset my rudder controls. No, they're working. Okay, the next thing to do is set up the autopilot system. First we need to align the attitude indicators. We'll press and hold these buttons if you're very slow today, but normally you can see the attitude indicators align. Once you let go, in this case the warning flag removes itself. Sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. Because now we're going to the top here. Select test control 1. Test is okay. Test control 2. Test is okay. Close the cap. And now the warning should be gone. and also check in the rear, and we should see the, no, not yet, we need to switch on the Autopilot flight director. We hear the beep, and now we should check in the rear. Yes, the ABSU ready light is on, which means the system is ready to control the airplane. So flight director needles on, prepare nav on, which means we allow the nav systems, either NVU or VOR, to control the airplane, and the roll and pitch channels on, so that's here. And actually you can, if you wish, now just test the autopilot, switching it on.
Engaging autopilot.
So you see stabilizer, it's on, and we can disconnect by pulling the controls, and that disconnects it. Next is the auto throttle system, that's on this side. Open the cap for prepare and switch on. The light should come on, yeah. Weather radar, don't turn it on if you have ground crew in front of your airplane, but well, you can turn it on but not active. We'll just turn it on now and nothing happens, but once it's warmed up the ready light will come on. We'll switch it on once we're on the runway. Nose steering on, of course, we didn't use that, but it's forward. Okay, now we extend the taxi light, we don't turn it on yet. And it's time for the before taxi checklist. So, MISC checklists before taxi.
Before taxi. Electric system on wheels. Cap on. Pressurizing system. Pressure 650%. Navigation system. Point on. Proximity radio. Point on. Transponder. Standby. Boosters controlling. Enable stop close automatic. Artificial horizon. Check Gyroscopes. Check Gyroscopes. Compass. Turn on and set. Autopilot. Autopilot OK. Manual mode. DISS. Not on. Checklist complete.
Okay, checklist is complete. Now I'll ask for taxi clearance.